Today we'll discuss visual practices that deliberately aim to disrupt classical optics. Riso art is a visual style that imitates the stencil printing technique of the riso machine. Riso printing almost always relies on a limited CMYK palette. This color restraint gives the image a muted, often vintage character. In addition to the minimal color set, a key element is grain, which is added as a filter. In digital riso style, grain is artificially enhanced, especially in shadows and gradients. This helps emphasize the volume of objects, eliminate excessive digital sterility, and create a lively texture effect close to real paper. In animation, the grain can be dynamic. It subtly fluctuates, creating the illusion of a breathing surface. Japanese motion designer Hiromu Oka is one of the ambassadors of riso aesthetics in contemporary animation. Hiromu uses stop-motion techniques that we discussed in previous lectures. His festival work consisted of 210 frames for just 17 seconds of video, which ultimately implies high production costs. Some kind of starting point for Oka was the retro home printing machine Goko, originally intended for making New Year's greeting cards, Nengajo. The style is particularly popular in Asian countries, Japan, Taiwan, where there's even a museum of risography, and South Korea. Its aesthetic evokes nostalgia for old magazines, postcards, and DIY culture. In a European context, such references might be less familiar, but for Asian perception, this is an important part of cultural memory. Even with just 4 base colors, risograph printing allows to get dozens of shades. This is achieved by varying the dot density. Light areas are formed with fewer or smaller holes. Digital riso style often intentionally reproduces defects and noise, typical for analog printing. Simulation of mechanical equipment bugs, tire tracks, smudged ink, ghost images, needle strikes. There are complex color overlays or subtractive color mixing. Intentional paper misregistration creates a doubling effect due to multiple passes through the printer, resulting in uneven ink coverage. Manual defects are also found: paper jam, distortions, smudges, and fingerprints from hands-on interaction with printed art. Riso style is often associated with a naive aesthetic, comics, anime, and postcards. In the era of total digitalization, there is growing interest in tangible and analog experiences, because real riso ink embossing offers a tactile experience that enhances the perception of the finished product. The poster graphics of Brian Ewing clearly show the influence of risograph aesthetics in color schemes, graininess, and flat fills with slight misalignment. RGB art. RGB art is based on dispersed 3-color layering achieved by overlapping red, green, and blue light waves. The style demonstrates additive color mixing. The Italian artist duo Karnofsky, known for their experimental approach to color and light, released a series of illustrated books in which images are composed of 3 overlaid color layers. The viewer sees different images depending on the color through illuminated colored filters. A blue filter reveals a hidden world of fantastic creatures and sea monsters as seen in their Animal series. A red filter displays the obvious visible world. Karnofsky used RGB art in a variety of projects: interior design, book covers, advertising. Their style uses scientific aesthetics, anatomical sketches, botanical illustrations. RGB art represents a dynamic image with a temporal structure of perception. You don't see everything at once but uncover layers gradually, some kind of visual archaeology. This effect of hidden images and total division into 3 channels is also seen in an IKEA commercial, where a billboard's message changes depending on the lighting. Color here becomes a visual modality tool. The same image contains multiple realities, and only filtered light reveals them. Irish artist Aches works with both subtractive CMYK and additive RGB color theories, exploring how colors interact when overlaid, darkening in the subtractive model and brightening in the additive one. This technique led him to create a unique and recognizable style. The process of intentionally decomposing a coherent digital image into its basic light layers is not only visual, but also carries philosophical meaning. It reflects a desire to examine the digital body from the inside, dissect its structure, and explore it almost anatomically. In the post-digital culture, where images have become excessively perfect and detached from materiality, RGB decomposition acts as a reverse movement, a desire to return the viewer to the components of perception, to feel the presence of the pixel, light wave, distortion, to sense the technological traces that shape our perception of reality. RGB is often just a simply part of glitch aesthetics, as seen in the Katy Perry music video. In mobile interfaces, the effect of shifting color channels during a swipe was adapted for Flutter by developer Florian Vogtle. In the installation Your Uncertain Shadow by Olafur Eliasson, viewers interact with unusual blue and green shadows projected on the wall. Participants move, dance, or gesture, creating dynamic overlapping silhouettes. The more people are involved, the more complex the visual effects become. Shadows mix, forming illusory images where the boundaries between child and adult, self and big other blur. The layering and shifting in both RGB art and risograph aesthetics also blur the boundary between digital and real. Each layer contributes its own interpretation, disrupting the sense of perceptual unity.
They become metaphors for identity, mutable, multiple, emerging through interaction and view. These are not just light effects, but an experience of the fragmented self dissolving into a shared visual field, an idea resonant with both digital and psychoanalytic concepts of subjectivity.
The effect of chromatic aberration is a slight shifting of channels, characterized by a distinctive colorful fringe along sharp edges. Since the early 2000s, the world has undergone a series of systemic disruptions, from 9/11 and the financial crisis to the pandemic. Chromatic aberration, as an element of glitch aesthetics, reflects this growing sense of instability. The glitch occurs within the personality itself, loss of consciousness, personality fragmentation, intoxication, as seen in Red Dead Redemption, or hallucinations as in Tame Impala music videos. In the film Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, stylized chromatic aberration marks the layering of worlds and shows objects out of focus, replacing depth of field. The colors split as if comic book pages were poorly printed. This replacement of conventional blur is part of a new trend that moves animation away from mimicking reality toward more conceptual and stylized approaches. Shifting RGB channels with added noise and distortion is also used to recreate archaic media. VHS video as in a Bruno Mars music video, or old CRT monitors as in the game Her Story. This isn't mere nostalgia, it's a desire to bring a sense of the physical, vulnerable and imperfect medium back into the digital world. Anaglyph effect is a specific technique for creating a stereoscopic 3D effect, illusion of depth on a flat image. One view is tinted red for the left eye, the other cyan for the right eye. In graphic design, the Anaglyph effect is usually created by slightly concretely red channel shift, evoking associations with depth, shimmering, and 3D vibration. In the TikTok logo, which originally had musical roots, the Anaglyph imitates the visual environment of a nightclub or concert. Bright colors on a dark background, flickering lights, doubled sound and image. This creates a dynamic, vibrating visual identity.